Chapter 1226 Rules of the Righteous Path. On his bed, Fang Yuan slowly opened his eyes that he let out a breath of air. Realizing that he was still in his bed, the surrounding arrangements were all intact. This was the defensive Gu formation that Southern Border's Righteous Path forces had created together. It was very safe. But Fang Yuan was vigilant to the core. He always considered the many possible outcomes before he did anything. Ever since rebirth, he had been cultivating endlessly. He exerted all of his effort without wasting a moment of his time on useless aspects. This sleep was the same. Fang Yuan entered his own dream realm. Getting materials from his dream realm, he obtained the Gu materials for many Dream Path Mortal Gu. If I refine them, I can get 5 to 6 Dream Path Mortal Gu. Fang Yuan assessed. His improvement in Dream Path was evident that in the past, after one dream, he would only obtain a few Gu materials to refine 1 or 2 Dream Path Mortal Gu. But now was different. His gains had risen sharply. His efficiency in getting Dream Path Mortal Gu also rose by many times. Of course, there was an important element, his soul. When exploring dream realms, the soul would weaken. Thus, the stronger the soul, the longer one could explore the dream realm, and the greater the backlash that they could endure from the dream realm. What was worth mentioning was, no matter how strong the soul was, it was just a basic condition for exploration. A strong soul could not allow one to freely move in the dream realm. There was a somewhat unfitting analogy for souls and dreams. The dream realm was like a desert. When souls explore it, they are like lost travelers inside the desert. The stronger the soul, the stronger the traveler's constitution. They could endure hunger and stay inside the desert for a longer time. But that did not mean that he could walk out of the desert. He did not know what direction it was. He could not create food and water inside the desert. He could not shrink the desert or leave it freely. But clear directions, creation of water and food, and modifying the desert, all of these could only be achieved by Dream Path at this period of time. Why this period of time? Because when all the paths reach a certain attainment level, they can mimic other paths and attain their effects that in the future, Fire Path, Earth Path, and others can also create their own immortal killer moves that mimic Dream Path effects. However, there was a huge condition. That was, Dream Path had to be developed further as a path, and the Gu Immortal trying to mimic its effect needed to be familiar with Dream Path and have high Dream Path attainment. Right now, Dream Path had just started being researched. All the forces and Gu Immortals were suffering from exploring it. They did not have many useful gains. Even though there were quite a few Dream Path Gu worms, and even while Dream Path Immortal Gu, Dream Path as a path itself was still very far from actually being created. It was not even properly created yet, not to mention completed. Creating a whole new path was not so easy. There were many Water Path Gu worms. During the immemorial Antiquity era, Remote Antiquity era, and Olden Antiquity era, there were countless wild Water Path Gu worms. There were even people who created new Water Path Gu worms. But only until the medieval Antiquity era did Spirit Affinity House's founder, Shui finalize the path after considering all aspects, formally creating Water Path. Thus, Gu Immortals in the 5 regions could do nothing about Dream Path. They knew that it was extremely valuable, but they had no way to gain from it. Many Gu Immortals died in dream realms. This situation was happening everywhere, and some time ago, Southern Border's Gu Immortals had suffered massive casualties from this. Precisely. So, Southern Border's Righteous Path Gu Immortals noticed the fact and had to slow down their exploration of the dream realm, moving forward with steady steps, carefully progressing slowly. Many Gu Immortals were still very wary of the dream realm. They started to have different ideas. Thus, the Immortal Opportunity business was born as a result. If the Righteous Path Gu Immortals had ways to explore the dream realm, how could they give up this immense profit to the demonic and lone immortals? Thinking of the Immortal Opportunity business, Fang Yuan sat up on his bed. The Immortal Opportunity business had to exist, but at the same time, he could not be involved in it excessively. The Immortal Opportunity business had many uses that on one hand, it could give Gu Immortals immense benefits. On the other hand, it could greatly reduce the conflict of the Righteous Path, Demonic Path, and Lone Cultivators. If the Righteous Path Gu Immortals defended the Super Dream Realm forcefully, what would these Demonic Path and Lone Immortals in Southern Border think? The righteous path definitely obtained a lot of benefits, but they are keeping it for themselves. If time passes, the righteous path will get stronger. While we get weaker, how can we live? These are the cultivation resources of Great Dream Immortal Venerable. Who does not want to become Great Dream Immortal Venerable? Why is the righteous path allowed to hog it for themselves, without any for us? This would be their mentality. It was extremely dangerous. Southern Border's righteous path forces knew that if these people were forced, the demonic and lone immortals would join up and result in another battle of Etion Mountain, or result in the blood battle martial competition of Northern Plains. With this immortal opportunity business, the lone and demonic immortals would realize, oh, the dream realm is so dangerous. There is nothing to gain from it. At this moment, the righteous path can do nothing to it. Otherwise, why would there be this business? Are they letting us experience the dream realm on purpose? Creating this dream realm business was the idea of the rank 7 Gu immortal from Wu clan. He was very astute. Unfortunately, Fang Yuan was stronger and used his brother's influence to chase this rank 7 Gu immortal away. Fang Yuan needed stability. The more stable, the better. He needed a stable environment to explore the dream realms here. Thus, preventing the attacks of both lone and demonic path immortals here meant that it was necessary to continue the immortal opportunity business. But Fang Yuan could not participate, because not all the righteous path clans were participating. This was a crucial point. Put simply, the loot was not distributed evenly. Wu clan and 6 other righteous path clans were getting the benefits, while the other half of the clans were not participating. This was very reasonable that GU immortals were moved by benefits. The fewer people who joined, the more they would gain, right? Thus, the result was, once the immortal opportunity business was exposed, all of the Gu immortals involved would not be able to get away. They would definitely be punished severely, because this was the rule of the righteous path. Fang Yuan could not step into this trap, but Wu Yin and the rest wanted to rope him in. But Fang Yuan knew that once this was exposed, even if he was the owner of 2 immortal Gu in here and was the brother of Wu Yong, it was impossible for him to stay here. Fang Yuan was not going to take the risk. He went through all kinds of methods to infiltrate here. What was it for? It was for the dream realm, especially when Wu Yong was not someone who favored his brother Wu Yihai. His attitude would depend on the circumstances, but as long as Fang Yuan did not commit a mistake and was the owner of the immortal Gu here, Wu Yong would be less likely to send him elsewhere. Fang Yuan could see all these details clearly, thanks to the 500 years of his previous life. Even though his cultivation level was not high, he had been in the righteous path, demonic path, and even was a lone cultivator. He had incredibly rich life experiences. This allowed him to be in the righteous path while not being restrained by Wu Yihai's lone cultivator upbringing. He was clear about the political situation here. He knew what to do as a righteous path Gu immortal, and how to play this game of life. Thus, he recruited Lady White Rabbit at the crucial moment. He could use her as scapegoat, saying that he did not know the matter. The immortal opportunity business profits that were for him were all given to Lady White Rabbit as well, but he could not take the profits. Unlike demonic path or lone cultivators who would crazy after seeing some resources, the righteous path could not do this. Some benefits could be gained, but certain benefits were untouchable. But what if he rejected her? What if he gave Lady White Rabbit and Wu in the cold shoulder? That was worse if Fang Yuan did that. Even though there would not be a crisis after getting exposed, he would make enemies with 6 clans of Gu immortals. These people were beneficiaries. If Fang Yuan did not lead them, they would not dare to undergo this business. These people would definitely have poor feelings towards him. Fang Yuan would have just arrived at the Super Gu formation, and he would have already offended all of the political allies of Wu clan. And all those who did not participate in the immortal opportunity business, like Ba clan, Tai clan, or Shang clan, would be greedily eyeing up Fang Yuan. If he did that, he would be crippling his own network. It was an extremely stupid idea. The arrangement now was good. The immortal opportunity business continued. His political allies were happy. Ba clan and the rest were watching but could not do anything to Fang Yuan, who had no exploitable weaknesses. In the future, if this matter was exposed, Fang Yuan would push Lady White Rabbit into the spotlight, sacrificing her and saying that he was doting on her. But to think that she would do something like this behind his back. He was completely kept in the dark and ignorant. All in all, Fang Yuan had leeway to retreat or advance for those prophets. Fang Yuan could only give up on them. He did not lack resources now. The Sovereign Immortal Aperture's cultivation resources would put most rank 7 Gu immortals to shame. Next, I can officially start exploring dream realms. Fang Yuan prepared to move at the same time. In Northern Plains, the blood battle martial competition was reaching its end. Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu and Yao Huang did not appear from start to finish, but their influence was heavily affecting the competition. Chu Du had an ugly expression. The situation was not in his favor. Hao Zhun had lost. He was holding his left shoulder with his right arm. His injuries were severe. His left arm was completely chopped off. The injury area was covered in Dao marks. It was hard to heal. Northern Plains' righteous path truly has a deep foundation. Chu Du sighed. He was in an extremely awkward position of having nobody to send out. Hao Zhun had an angry expression. He spoke with unwillingness to give up. Lord Chu Du, I have a friend who is stronger than me, but they are a secluded cultivator and have little fame. Chu Du was joyful and suspicious. Oh, why did you not recommend them earlier? Hao Zhun had a difficult expression. He transmitted carefully. There is one bad point. They cultivate blood path. Chu Du's expression turned solemn. He rejected it without hesitation. Absolutely not. Any blood path Gu immortal is a demonic path Gu immortal. This blood battle martial competition is a competition between righteous path forces. How can this blood path demonic immortal take part? Once they were involved, the other party could slander Chu Du's side for being demonic path members. Chu Du's hard work would completely go down the drain. This was the rule of the righteous path. Chapter 1227, Dragon Man. Our Combat Immortal Sect is one of the 10 great ancient sections. Lad, since you were recommended by my senior brother, you must know about the selection rules of Combat Immortal Sect. It will depend on your combat results. In Fang Yuan's vision, a Gu master was looking down imposingly at him, saying, if you want to officially become a disciple of Combat Immortal Sect, you have to put up a good fight and be one of the 10 people left out of 100 people to be qualified to join the sect. Combat Immortal Sect. Why is it this kind of dream? Spectral Soul Demon Venerable didn't seem to have joined Combat Immortal Sect during his life. It seems that he absorbed many souls in the door of life and death and obtained lots of cultivation experiences. This is why it formed like this. Fang Yuan speculated inwardly. At this time, the Gu master took out 3 Gu worms. This first Gu worm looked like a caterpillar. It was light blue and the size of an adult's thumb. The head had a small horn on it. The second Gu worm was a butterfly with red patterns, emitting a warm aura. The third Gu worm was a toad. It seemed like a gray rock. Inside the dream realm, the Gu master spoke. These 3 Gu worms are Water Arrow Gu, Fire Cloak Gu, and Spirit Saliva Gu. You are a rank 1 Gu master. Choose one. I can only choose one. Fang Yuan asked. Everyone can only choose one. The Gu master in charge said expressionlessly. Fang Yuan nodded. He assessed carefully. Water Arrow Gu is for attacking, but it is not good among offensive Gu. Fire Cloak Gu is a defensive Gu. It grants me a cloak of fire that can burn enemies mildly, and Spirit Saliva Gu can be used to heal Gu masters. If I can choose all of them, so be it. But if I can only choose one, it means this task needs cooperation. The earlier Gu master said that there are 100 people but 10 spots. To explore this dream realm, I probably need to go ahead and get one of the 10 spots. I choose Fire Cloak Gu. Fang Yuan thought, answering soon after he needed to race for time. His dream realm exploration time was very precious. The soul would continuously be expended when exploring dream realms. Once it weakens to a certain level, Fang Yuan's cognitive abilities would fall drastically. He would be unable to differentiate between reality and the dream. He would not know that he was dreaming. Eventually, his soul would be trapped in the dream. Until he died, Fang Yuan would only have his body left in this world. Like those pitiful Gu immortals of southern border earlier, exploring dream realms was dangerous, especially when Fang Yuan was exploring it alone, without anyone around to take care of him. If any problems occurred, he would be unable to save himself. That would be terrible. But who could Fang Yuan truly trust? To grow his attainment level, Fang Yuan had to pay a price. and take some risks. Of course, I have my trump card. I am not recklessly charging around like other Gu immortals, needing to test their luck. Fang Yuan thought of this and immediately used an immortal killer move. Unravel Dream. Large numbers of Dream Path mortal Gu were expended. A mystical power was displayed before Fang Yuan that a Gu master suddenly appeared. The Gu master from earlier was shocked. He asked the new Gu master, "Senior brother, why are you here?" The senior brother said, "I came to take a look. Junior brother, give the spirit saliva Gu to this child." "But senior brother, this is cheating. If it is discovered." The junior brother was troubled. The senior brother laughed. "Don't worry, spirit saliva Gu cannot be detected on the outside if it is used secretly. This child also chose fire cloak Gu when he is concealed by it. Who can see that he is healing himself?" The junior brother nodded. "Since senior brother is saying that, I have nothing else to say. Take it." Saying so, he tossed 2 Gu worms at Fang Yuan, fire cloak Gu and spirit saliva Gu. Fang Yuan had just received them when the surrounding dream realm faded, becoming the second scene. Unravel Dream's effect would change to fit the dream realm, creating effects that would benefit the user. Thus, Unravel Dream's actual effect would vary from dream realm to dream realm. But this time, after using Unravel Dream, I only obtained 1 extra mortal Gu in the dream. Unravel Dream is an immortal killer move. This effect was rather small. Fang Yuan thought about it. When he was exploring star constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm, Unravel Dream had immediate results, like untying the wind, not grass instantly. It was direct progress of the dream realm. Unlike here, after using it, he only gained 1 more mortal Gu. After all, Fang Yuan's cultivation level was rank 2 in this dream realm. He had limited primeval essence. He could not use Gu worms many times. Even though he obtained a second Gu, he had to use his primeval essence wisely. The actual help was not very big. Don't tell me that because this dream realm is too big, the rules of the dream realm are also stronger. Thus, external influences are less effective. In the 500 years of my previous life, a batch of Gu immortals also agreed with this point. Regardless of Fang Yuan's thoughts, the second scene had started. Fang Yuan found that he was in dusty fog. The road in front of him seemed to be at level ground. This is the internal space of a Gu formation. It can accommodate 100 people to fight. The Gu masters controlling the Gu formation can also observe our situation. Fang Yuan analyzed as a young man in the fog approached him. Fang Yuan thought quickly. He called out, "Don't attack, friend. So many people are participating. We can ally first." "Ally? You offended young Master Long. You want others to ally with you." The young man snickered as he shot out a water arrow. Fang Yuan's figure shifted. He nimbly dodged it before pouncing. Seeing that Fang Yuan was getting close, the young man panicked. He used a second water arrow and tried to force Fang Yuan away. But Fang Yuan was experienced. Seeing the young man raise his hand, he knew where the arrow was heading. Fang Yuan moved his feet and charged even quicker as the second water arrow missed him narrowly. The youngster quickly moved back, retreating while firing arrows. Fang Yuan observed patiently. Even though he had a chance to get close, Fang Yuan purposely dodged instead. After a while, the young man was out of steam. Fang Yuan smiled, slowly walking forward. "Right now, I can disqualify you easily. How about it? Join me, and we can work together to deal with the others. I am very sincere." "Humph," the young man snorted. "Just the 2 of us against 98 people? You are dreaming. You offended young Master Long. You wanted to snatch his woman, and you still want to get into combat Immortal Sect. You are simply dreaming. I would rather give up here than offend young Master Long foolishly." Fang Yuan's heart sank. In this case, wouldn't he have to deal with the other teenagers in this test alone? This young Master Long was truly a problem. No wonder earlier, Southern Border's righteous path Gu immortals suffered heavy losses. This dream realm is too difficult. It is harder than even star constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm. Fang Yuan retreated, realizing that he was surrounded by 30 youngsters who had ganged up together, encircling him all around. By Xiang Grotto Heaven, I succeeded. Bai Ning Bing said plainly. His gaze was still cold. He had a normal expression, but his appearance was quite tattered. He was charred black, like lamb on a barbecue rack, having been roasted for a long time. When he spoke, Smoke was coming out of his throat. Bai Xiang Heavenly Spirit looked at him, nodding. You used your own body to contain the fire, subduing the raging wave rising dragon fire. Do you know how dangerous this is? There is only a small chance of success. If you fail, your entire body will turn into ash. Regardless, I succeeded. Bai Ningbing was still holding on desperately. When he spoke, each word was said with much difficulty. He was relying solely on his willpower. Bai Xiang Heavenly Spirit chuckled. Since you succeeded, you are now the new owner of this grotto heaven. Greetings to young master. Bai Ningbing nodded. He did not say anything. He felt like he would faint if he uttered another word. But if he fainted, according to Ming Wuxie's words, he would be unable to control the raging wave rising dragon fire in his body. He would be burned to a crisp instantly. At this time, Bai Xiang Heavenly Spirit said, Young master, you are in a dangerous situation now. If you are careless, you will die completely. Not even your soul will survive. If you were the blazing glory lightning brilliance physique, it would be better, but you had to be the northern dark ice soul physique. I have a cultivation method that suits your current state. This goo refinement method uses the goo immortal themselves as goo material, together with the raging wave rising dragon fire. You will be refined together. Young master will leave the human race and become one of the variant humans, a dragon man. Dragon man. Bai Ningbing stared with wide eyes, thinking, the Legends of Renzu has no mention of any dragon man. There is such a variant human race. Bai Ningbing did not speak, but Bai Xiang Heavenly Spirit knew his doubts. The Heavenly Spirit continued, it is indeed not inside the Legends of Renzu, because the variant human dragon man was created by a human great expert, Duke Long. The original intention was to prolong lifespan. Duke Long is a heavenly court goo immortal. He has extremely high battle strength, like sword immortal Bo Qing in the past. He brought about the method of humans alike dragons one. He fused refinement path and transformation path to create a brand new variant human race, the Dragon Man. Bai Ningbing's shock increased a bit more, he thought. Who is this Duke Long? Even though I only became an immortal recently, knowledge is not my weakness. I know much more than ordinary goo immortals. Duke Long is someone on par with Bo Qing. How could he not be in historical records? Is there no such person recorded in goo immortal history? Is Bai Xiang Heavenly Spirit speaking rubbish? Chapter 1228, Duke Long. Bai Ningbing knew that a land spirit or heavenly spirit was formed by the goo immortal's obsession fused with the immortal aperture's heavenly power. It was a mystical existence. Because of the obsession, land spirits and heavenly spirits had an ownership acknowledgement requirement, and they could not lie. But although land spirits and heavenly spirits could not lie, that did not mean they could not spout nonsense if land spirits or heavenly spirits obtain wrong information. But they think it is real when they say it. It is not a lie. Bai Xiang Heavenly Spirit's words were quite unbelievable that Bo Qing was Bo Qing, because he was a type of person rarely seen in human history. What was Bo Qing's title? The pseudo-immortal venerable who split the 5 regions with his sword. It was fortunate for the people in the world that love changed him. He was publicly recognized by all goo immortals across different eras that he was at a level second to only rank 9 goo venerables. Such a person was extremely dazzling, like the moon in the night sky, even over the span of history with countless geniuses. If this Duke Long was a great expert at the level of Bo Qing, how could he not be in historical records? Bai Ningbing was full of doubts, but at this time, Bai Xiang Heavenly Spirit did not answer his doubts. He asked, Young master, your life is in great danger. We can only use the humans alike dragon's goo refinement method to turn yourself into a dragon man and resolve your crisis. However, this method is rather dangerous. Bai Xiang Heavenly Spirit said this as he frowned, sighing as he said, You must know that goo refinement has very strict requirements towards the materials. A proficient refinement path expert would consider all of the Tao marks that were inside each goo material. And the humans alike dragon's goo refinement method uses the goo immortal themselves as the immortal material. But immortal materials like these vary from person to person. Every goo immortal has different number of Tao marks of differing paths. Thus, this goo refinement method has a low chance of success. If young master had the blazing glory lightning brilliance physique, or if you cultivated transformation path or refinement path, there is a greater chance. But you are on the other extreme, being the northern dark ice soul physique. Sigh. If you use this method, the chance of surviving is extremely minute. During the Gu refinement process, all of your Dao marks will be affected. Young master, all of the ice and snow path Dao marks in your body might vanish completely. Bai Ningbing's eyes shined brightly instead. My ice and snow path Dao marks will vanish. Does that mean the Information Path Alliance agreement on me, and the Transformation Path Dao marks, will also vanish? He was very stirred up. All along, what troubled him most were the Transformation Path Dao marks. Back then, in southern borders Qingmao Mountain, because of yin-yang rotation Gu, he turned from a guy to a girl. Now, once he used the phantom aperture, he would turn into a Gu immortal. His transformation path Dao marks would be suppressed, and he would become a male again. If he did not use the phantom aperture and turn back to immortal, his transformation path Dao marks would turn him into a girl again. Of course, the Dao marks from Shadow Sex Information Path Alliance Agreement were Bai Ningbing's biggest restraint at the moment. Was Bai Ningbing someone who would submit to others? All along, he merely had no methods or ways to break free. Use this method. Bai Ningbing did not hesitate. He struggled intensely and uttered 3 words. Central Continent. Heavenly Court. A female immortal was holding an information path Gu worm and inspecting it carefully. She had a graceful figure with hair that extended to her waist and was adorned in a beautiful purple robe. Her eyes were like deep pools, with a sense of sorrow shrouding her face. It was the Wisdom Path Great Expert who replaced Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord, the temporary leader of Heavenly Court, Fairy Ziwei. She retracted her attention from the information path Gu worm as her lips curled into a smile. Love Gu actually acknowledged Zhao Yinyan? Interesting. Fairy Ziwei was not surprised. She knew many historical secrets. Love Gu had never been reliable in history. In the past, it could acknowledge the Inkman Mo Yao, and now, was it really that strange that it acknowledged the otherworldly demon Zhao Yinyun? Spirit Affinity House's supreme elders cannot decide on this matter, so they are pushing the decision to me? They have gotten smarter. Fairy Ziwei sighed to herself. Spirit Affinity House was not having a good time recently. During the Battle of Etian Mountain, Bo Qing, even though he was dead, had become an immortal zombie, playing a crucial role in that battle. Long ago, he had joined Spirit Affinity House as Sword Immortal Bo Qing. Bo Qing's sword lights rampaged over Central Continent. It caused great damage to Central Continent, the 10 great ancient sects, and even Heavenly Court. After the Battle of Etian Mountain ended, Spirit Affinity House endured immense pressure because of it. Whether they should make Zhao Yinyun the current generation fairy of Spirit Affinity House, these Spirit Affinity House Supreme Elders could not decide. It was a hard decision regardless of whether they make her the fairy or not. Pushing this difficult problem to Fairy Ziwei, they could avoid the responsibility themselves. Fairy Ziwei did not feel angry about it, because she was from Spirit Affinity House in the past. Fairy Ziwei was once a Gu immortal from Spirit Affinity House. Because of her great talent, after she became rank 8, she was accepted into Heavenly Court. Even though the 10 great ancient sects were lower-level sects of Heavenly Court, their relationship was not as simple as superiors and subordinates. Because many Heavenly Court Gu immortals did not forget their roots, the sect that they came from. When descendants from these sects enter Heavenly Court, they would become natural political allies of these Gu immortals. Thus, Fairy Ziwei sided with Spirit Affinity House and was willing to settle this problem for them. In fact, she and Fairy Bai Qing had some bloodline relationship, and Fairy Bai Qing was Feng Jin, Huang's mother, and Feng Jin Huang was vying with Zhao Yinyun for the position of fairy. Neither would relent if Spirit Affinity House's supreme elders acknowledged Zhao Yinyun. They would be denying Feng Jin Huang the position. Thus, they gave this problem to Fairy Ziwei and let her decide. This problem was a small matter to Fairy Ziwei. She was about to use the information path Gu worm to reply when she suddenly felt a tremor. This tremor was mild. Fairy Ziwei almost thought that she was imagining things. But soon, a tremor occurred again, at an even greater intensity than before. Fairy Ziwei stood up in shock. She had to be shocked, because she was in Heavenly Court now. This was such an important place that was managed for countless years. The defense was extremely tight. How could tremors occur for no reason? The tremors continued. This situation attracted the attention of many Gu immortals. Granny Sha stopped refining Gu. She had an expression of shock. Wei Lingyang walked out of his hall and looked around. Fairy Ziwei could not sit anymore. She left the hall and heard some dragon roars vaguely in the tremors. The dragon roars were getting louder. Heavenly Court was shaking with even more intensity now. Under Fairy Ziwei's shocked gaze, a dragon-shaped pillar of light soared to the sky from deep within Heavenly Court. That place, is that deep within the immortal graveyard? Don't tell me, a senior has awakened? Fairy Ziwei frowned, "At this time." Granny Sha and Wei Lingyang came to her. Such a scene inside the immortal graveyard. It must be a senior from Heavenly Court. But I wonder which one. Granny Sha deduced. Wei Lingyang said, "The immortal graveyard is unfathomable and mysterious. Even we do not know how many Gu immortals are slumbering in it. But Heavenly Court has experienced such huge tremors. This person who woke up must be very extraordinary." Granny Sha nodded. She was also someone who had woken up from hibernation. But when she woke up, Heavenly Court was peaceful and quiet, without any commotion. It was a clear contrast to now. Fairy Ziwei breathed in deeply. "We'll know if we go and see." The three immortals flew deep into the immortal graveyard, only to see a huge pit that had formed on the plain grassland. Inside the pit, there was a withered and weak old man. The old man saw the three Gu immortals and quickly opened a slit of his eyes with much difficulty, saying weakly, "Water, water." Fairy Ziwei quickly went ahead and used her healing methods. Granny Sha and Wei Lingyang looked at each other. The commotion was huge, but to think that this person was so weak when they saw him, this was really surprising. My healing methods are not working. At this time, Fairy Ziwei frowned as she spoke. Wei Lingyang quickly went ahead and used all his methods, but nothing was working on the old man. Wei Lingyang said solemnly, "Not good. This senior's body is very strange. My methods are not working. Senior's life force is dwindling. At this rate, he will die in less than a few minutes." Fairy Ziwei's eyes shined. She analyzed. Earlier, Senior said water. It must be a method to save him. Ordinary water would not work. Then what water does he need? Granny Sha was a refinement path expert. She used her healing methods as she said, "There are 3 fires in this world, and also 3 waters. They are all rank 9 immortal materials. Heavenly Court has stock of all of them. Bring them here." But the 3 types of water had no effect. The old man could barely breathe. He was dying. The 3 immortals were anxious. What should they do? Fairy Ziwei suddenly pointed at the old man's head. Senior's forehead had 2 protrusions. What are these rock-like things? Granny Sha was reminded as inspiration flashed in her mind. "I know what water it is." She took out the true dragon heavenly water, pouring this rank 8 immortal material into the old man's mouth. The old man obtained this water, and his life force surged. His body started inflating. Soon, his throat started moving. He had the strength to drink this water himself. The result was immediate. The 3 immortals were overjoyed. After the old man drank 500 grams of true dragon heavenly water, he pushed Granny Sha's hands away. Granny Sha understood and stopped feeding him. The old man stood up shakily. He was different from before. His dry skin had been puffed up. His entire facial shape had changed. He no longer looked like a skeleton. He opened his aged eyes as he looked at the 3 immortals, sighing. "This is the last time I can awaken. True dragon heavenly water is not effective now. 500 grams is enough. Any more is a waste." I sensed that someone was using the humans alike dragon's Gu refinement method. I can smell traces of fate. I had no choice but to wake up. You are Duke Long." Fairy Ziwei stared with wide-opened eyes, tongue-tied. "That would be me." Chapter 1229, Love Gu 1/2. Zhao Lianyun was brought into a small secret room in her days. "Where is this?" She opened her eyes, looking around. This secret room was extremely quiet. A bone-chilling silence was embedded into every brick in this room, and every inch of the wall. The secret room was not bright. It was dim like only a candle was lit, sending out faint traces of light. Zhao Lianyun could barely see anything. "Come here." From the traces of light, an aged voice spoke. Zhao Lianyun followed the direction of the voice. As she got closer, She saw an elderly person who was as aged as that voice. She was the first Supreme Elder of Spirit Affinity House. First Supreme Elder looked at Zhao Lianyun with a deep glance, focusing her attention on Love Gu, which was on Zhao Lianyun's shoulder. Her gaze moved slightly. She quickly calmed down. Kneel down. First Supreme Elder said. Zhao Lianyun felt that even though this old woman did not feel special, she had an immense authority. Her calm words carried force that made people feel obliged to obey her. Thus, Zhao Lianyun lowered her head as she saw a cushion on the ground. She knelt down on the cushion. Her upper body was straight as she looked at the old woman. The old woman said, "Look ahead." Zhao Lianyun looked ahead. She saw that the secret room was getting bright. Zhao Lianyun gasped as she stared with wide-opened eyes, because she saw that on the wall in front, there were countless jade-like small tablets. These are life tablet Gu. Each of the names there is a certain fairy of Spirit Affinity House in the past. From the first generation until now, First Supreme Elder said slowly. Zhao Lianyun's breathing intensified. Her gaze swept past this wall. There were countless tablets. She was dazzled. At the top left-hand corner, there was a tablet with the first-generation fairy's name written, Shuani. Second-generation fairy, Sunyu. Third-generation fairy, Huiexun. She also saw Mo Yao, Lian Xiang, and other familiar names. Zhao Lianyun looked at these names. Her breathing became rough. She was like a child, staring at the night sky that was flickering with countless stars. She knew that these people were all past stars in the Gu immortal world. Every generation of Spirit Affinity House's fairies was a Gu immortal that was famous in Central Continent. They were extraordinary and unrivaled. They were like pearls that were linked together from the past to the present. They weaved Spirit Affinity House's future, leaving behind dazzling brilliance and glory throughout history. Zhao Lianyun was dazed. At this moment, First Supreme Elder spoke. From now onwards, you are the current generation fairy of Spirit Affinity House. Your life tablet Gu is already at the lowest position. At this moment, Zhao Lianyun's heart froze. She stared with wide-opened eyes. Looking at the old lady, she was overjoyed but had endless doubts. How can this be? Am I dreaming? According to Spirit Affinity House's rules, I am not qualified yet. She said this until she thought of something. She turned her gaze away as she looked at Love Gu on her shoulder. Is it because of this Gu? First Supreme Elder nodded slightly. This is Love Gu. You have already received Love Gu's acknowledgement. After Zhao Lianyun fainted, when she woke up, she was already inside this secret room. She was unsure of what Love Gu looked like, but she knew that Love Gu was the signature Gu of Spirit Affinity House. Is this Love Gu? Zhao Lianyun's body shook. Her voice was also off-pitch. First Supreme Elder nodded again. Zhao Lianyun breathed intensely. Intense joy was in her heart. It slowly oozed out as she felt like fortune had hit her in her head. But this bliss was too sudden. It was too great. She did not feel any joy. She felt some fear and uneasiness. She was afraid that everything was fake. She was worried that this was just a dream after she fainted. Thus, she stared with wide-opened eyes, asking First Supreme Elder nervously, why? This why contained too many questions. Why did Love Gu choose her? Why did she become Spirit Affinity House's fairy? Why did all this happen? First Supreme Elder did not answer her. She sighed deeply as she said slowly, You must have read the legends of Renzu, among which one chapter said this. Renzu obtained love, courage, and betrayal. He was no longer unable to progress due to fear. He continued to move forward, that on this day, he walked on his road, hearing a voice behind. Oh Renzu, I finally found you. Slow down, wait for me. Renzu stopped moving, turning around. He saw a snowman running up to him. What is it, snowman? Renzu asked curiously. The snowman said, Oh Renzu, I finally found you. I am the strongest snowman in my tribe. Snowmen are said to be afraid of fire. I want to prove that it is untrue. I traveled the world. I have already conquered the bright light, glorious ring fire in the sky, the azure divine stone furnace fire in the earth, and the raging wave rising dragon fire in the sea. But I heard that there is a fourth type of fire in this world, called the fire of love. Once it burns, it can turn all life forms in this world into cinders. I do not believe it. I heard that you have just obtained Love Gu. thus I wanted to try it. Fire of love. Rinzhu was surprised. He was hearing it for the first time. Thus, he called out Love Gu, asking, "Oh Gu, oh Gu, can you emit the fire of love?" Love Gu replied, "I can, and I cannot." Rinzhu and the snowman were curious. They asked, "What do you mean by can and cannot?" Love Gu explained, "I can because I am necessary in order to emit the fire of love. But I cannot, because I alone am not sufficient. 2 hearts are needed." 2 hearts. The snowman was worried. She took out her heart from her chest. This heart was huge and tough. It was emitting strong pressure. The snowman said, "This is my heart of domination. It is a pity that I only have 1 heart." Rinzhu said, "Don't worry, I have a heart too." Rinzhu originally had 1 heart, but he gave it to Hope Gu that he next obtained a heart of loneliness. Self Gu was residing within it. He also had a heart of discontent. Thus, right now, he took out the heart of discontent. The heart of discontent was dry and shriveled. It was small and weak, because this heart had little blood left. Rinzhu had once used almost all of his heart blood in ordinary abyss to grow the grass and trees of achievement. Love Gu flew into the heart of discontent and flew out. It flew into the heart of domination and flew out again. It flew into the sky and said, "All right, you want the fire of love. Let these 2 hearts clash." The snowman and Rinzhu took out their respective hearts, putting them together. Crackle, sparks were created. The sparks grew rapidly, turning into a blazing flame. Fire of love. The fire of love burned on Rinzhu's heart of discontent. It instantly turned this heart into ashes. Rinzhu was stunned. Love Gu said, "Love has a price. It makes people willing to sacrifice." The snowman laughed. "Oh Rinzhu, thankfully you have 2 hearts. Otherwise, without a heart, you would die." The snowman turned to look at the heart of domination in her hand. The fire of love enveloped this heart, but this heart shone brighter and brighter. The snowman was nonchalant. "Oh what? This fire of love only has an impressive appearance. It neither has the heat of bright light glorious ring fire, or the heaviness of azure divine stone furnace fire, or the chaos of raging wave rising dragon fire." As she said, she placed the heart of domination into her chest. Next, her body started bursting out in flames. She started melting like snowflakes under the sun. She turned pale from shock. She quickly patted and attempted to put out the fire of love. But the fire of love could not be extinguished. Eventually, the snowman completely melted. Only her heart was left, burning in raging flames. Rinzhu was extremely shocked. He felt that this snowman was very strong. To think that she would vanish like this, the fire of love is so scary. Rinzhu was shocked. Love Gu said, "The result of love varies from heart to heart. The heart of the snowman was domination, but you had the heart of discontent, and it was completely burned from the fire. Thus, this was the result. Actually, there are good results that can occur when the fire of love burns. The results of love varied. Each experience of love was a risk and gamble." Rinzhu suddenly thought of something, becoming stirred up. "Oh Love Gu, you said that love can make people willing to sacrifice. This is wonderful. I will fall in love with the feathermen and make them willing to fly for me, so that they can save my daughter from ordinary abyss." Right at this moment, a voice could be heard. "Father, Father!" From the burning flames of the heart of domination, a boy jumped out. He was Blazing Glory Lightning Brilliance. Blazing Glory Lightning Brilliance jumped into Rinzhu's arms as he said, "Father, Father, so I have a sister as well. I support you. Let's go save sister." Rinzhu was extremely overjoyed. He rubbed Blazing Glory Lightning Brilliance's head as he said, "My son, you are so smart and sensible." Rinzhu brought Blazing Glory Lightning Brilliance and went on a journey again. Not long after, they returned to the gathering spot of the feathermen. Rinzhu took out his heart of loneliness, saying to the feathermen, "Do you all have hearts?" The feathermen answered, "We all have the heart of freedom." Rinzhu laughed. "Then let us fall in love. I have a heart too, as well as Love Gu." The feathermen shook their heads. The heart of freedom will be completely burned in the fire of love. The process of pursuing love was also the process of losing freedom. Rinzhu was persistent. The results of love vary from hearts to hearts. Don't just look at one heart. My heart of loneliness is part of the process too. But no matter how Rinzhu urged, the Featherman would not agree. Chapter 1230, Love Gu, Two Halves. Rinzhu was helpless. He asked Love Gu, "Oh Gu, oh Gu, they don't want to love me. You have to help me and ignite the fire of love in our hearts." Love Gu sighed. "This is beyond my abilities. I cannot force others to love, no matter what heart. It has to collide on its own free will." Rinzhu shook his head. "No, this is a good chance to save my daughter. I cannot give up. Self-Gu, I will rely on you." Self-Gu nodded. Using its own strength, it had once eaten a mouthful of strength Gu. Right now, Rinzhu had his own strength. Thus, these Feathermen were all captured by Rinzhu, their hearts to dug out and used to collide with Rinzhu's heart. But no matter how they collided, there were no hearts that created the spark of love. Love Gu sighed. "Oh Rinzhu, forcing others to love is impossible. You will only create hatred." As it said that, a Gu worm appeared before Rinzhu. Rinzhu took a look. It was Hatred Gu indeed. Hatred Gu made all of the Feathermen feel hatred. They shouted, "Oh Rinzhu, you are too much. You are bullying us. We will make you pay the price." Thus, these Feathermen flew up together. Shining worms were flying out of their bodies. They were wild Freedom Gu. The Freedom Gu fused together into a gigantic Freedom Gu. This Freedom Gu easily took away Rinzhu's Love Gu. Henceforth, love is free. This giant Freedom Gu said. Rinzhu's Self Gu quickly flew out. It wanted to snatch Love Gu, but it could not overpower Freedom Gu. It only managed to take a bite of Love Gu. Self Gu said angrily, "Love also belongs to oneself." After Zhao Lianyun heard First Supreme Elder's words, she was still in a daze. Stories in The Legends of Rinzhu were widely spread. Zhao Lianyun had seen them many times in her childhood, but she always thought of them as fictitious tales. As a matter of fact, she did not expect that this strict granny would talk to her about The Legends of Rinzhu in such a heavy and serious atmosphere. Spirit Affinity House's First Supreme Elder saw Zhao Lianyun's expression and knew that she had never paid close attention to The Legends of Rinzhu. Thus, First Supreme Elder said, "The Love Gu on your shoulder is rank 9, but it has a major flaw." "What flaw?" Zhao Lianyun asked. "It cannot be refined." First Supreme Elder said solemnly. "What do you mean? Even Gu immortals cannot refine it?" Zhao Lianyun asked. First Supreme Elder smiled. "Not to mention Gu immortals, even rank 9 venerables cannot. In history, many venerables have tried. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had attempted to refine this Gu for 3 years in a row without pause, but he still failed miserably." Zhao Lianyun heard this secret and stared with wide-opened eyes. So there are things in this world that immortal venerables or demon venerables cannot do, she exclaimed. Venerables only have the strongest battle strength, invincible in this world. But they are not omnipotent. In the past, Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had to ask Longhair Ancestor for help in terms of Gu refinement. This is an obvious conclusion. First Supreme Elder spoke slowly. Thus, Love Gu cannot be controlled. It is free and nobody can give it orders. First Supreme Elder concluded. But why did it? Zhao Lianyun did not know what to say. She looked at Love Gu on her shoulder, eye in her vision. Love Gu was so dazzling and bright. First Supreme Elder said, "This is the acknowledgement of Love Gu. This situation is rare, but it has happened quite a number of times before. The last time was Fairy Mo Yao. Why did it acknowledge me?" Zhao Lianyun was curious. First Supreme Elder shook her head. "I am not sure, but our sect has concluded 2 points. Firstly, a person has to believe in love to gain its acknowledgement. This is the foundation. Secondly, someone's love has to reach an intense level. The greater your love, the higher the chances of gaining Love Gu's acknowledgement." "Is that so?" Zhao Lianyun blinked as she listened. She realized it was because she loved Ma Hongyun so deeply, even willing to give up her own life, that Love Gu came and acknowledged her. Why did this not happen for Feng Jin Huang? Because she had no lover. Love was not familial affection or friendship. First Supreme Elder continued. Precisely because Love Gu cannot be controlled, to make use of it, one needs Love Gu's acknowledgement. Thus, There is a rule in our sect since we were created. Anyone who gains Love Gu's acknowledgement, be it female or male, would be our sect's current generation fairy. Zhao Lianyun blinked. There are male fairies too? First Supreme Elder smiled. Our sect has a large proportion of females, but we also have males. Why would we not have them? Look at that tablet in the center, named Sheng Yushan, at the bottom right corner, with Qian Yuan Liang. These are all people dedicated to love in our sect's history. Actually, Love Gu has many special effects. For example, it has a different appearance as seen by different people. How does it appear to you now? Zhao Lianyun replied honestly. Dazzling with multicolored rainbows. First Supreme Elder nodded. To my sight, it is gray and unattractive, like a rock by the roadside. How could this be? First Supreme Elder smiled lightly, deep wisdom hidden in her eyes. I stopped believing in love long ago. Thus, Love Gu looks like that to me. In the generations of fairies, Love Gu has always looked different. Some see clear water, some see peach blossoms. There were countless forms that were observed. And also, Love Gu has varying effects. Please enlighten me, Zhao Lianyun said. First Supreme Elder continued. Normally speaking, a Gu worm, be it mortal or immortal, has only one effect. Like water arrow Gu, it can only shoot water arrows. But Love Gu is different. It can be said to have unlimited effects. It can shoot fire, heal, or provide defense, for instance. Zhao Lianyun became overjoyed as she listened. So amazing. First Supreme Elder shook her head. Love Gu is a rank 9 Gu. It is naturally extraordinary. It has unlimited effects, but it cannot be controlled. If you want it to attack, it will bring you to fly away. If you want to defend, it will heal you. Often, when you want it to work, it does absolutely nothing. When you do not want it to activate, it will come out and unleash its might. Zhao Lianyun was a little disheartened, but she soon gathered her spirits. Even so, it is a rank 9 immortal Gu. Any of the effects used must be extraordinary. First Supreme Elder said. You are right. But you forgot something. Strength cannot be gained from nothing. You have to pay a price. Every time Love Gu is used, it will take something away from you. Zhao Lianyun was nervous. What thing? The most common thing is immortal essence. But you are not a Gu immortal. It might take away your beauty, your eyesight, or your lifespan. First Supreme Elder said grimly. Zhao Lianyun's expression was pale. She looked at the Love Gu on her shoulder again. But now, her gaze was very different from before. This immortal Gu might end up accelerating my death? If that is the case, I need to make good use of my time. Zhao Lianyun made a resolute decision. She mustered her spirits, saying to First Supreme Elder, even if I have to pay a big price, I will save Ma Hongyun. Elder, if I become Spirit Affinity House's current generation fairy, can I use the sect's power to return to Northern Plains? First Supreme Elder did not answer Zhao Lianyun immediately. She had a complex expression. A while ago, Heavenly Court's Duke Long awakened. When news got out, the 10 great ancient sects were stirred. Duke Long was on par with Bo Qing in terms of strength. With just his own power, he created a brand new race, the Dragon Man. In other words, he was the ancestor of dragon men. He had a legendary life, but his reputation was not high, buried deep in history. Even in the 10 great ancient sects, barely anyone knew of him. Duke Long had great seniority. He was unbelievably old. When he woke up, Fairy Ziwei immediately gave up her position as leader, handing it to Duke Long. The other Heavenly Court Gu Immortals were all in agreement. Duke Long used information path methods and understood the situation. He immediately ordered for Zhao Lianyun to be Spirit Affinity House's current generation fairy. Not just that, Duke Long even gave Zhao Lianyun a phantom aperture, turning her into a Gu immortal. More absurdly, he even ordered the 10 great ancient sects to cooperate with Zhao Lianyun to bring a team to Northern Plains and save Ma Hongyun after some time. The 10 great ancient sects were in tumult, but they all obeyed him without objection. Because of historical reasons, nobody dared to question Duke Long's arrangements regarding Love Gu. Such news were not for Zhao Lianyun to know about. First Supreme Elder also did not want her to know. Zhao Lianyun was kneeling before her now, but she had fainted for a few days already. She would not know that the 10 great ancient sects were engaged in a contest regarding the huge storm surrounding her. Zhao Linyun saw that First Supreme Elder did not answer her. She became very nervous. She was afraid that First Supreme Elder would say no, but First Supreme Elder soon said, Zhao Linyun, you are an otherworldly demon who obtained the thieving heaven true inheritance. Perhaps you might be one of the most unique fairies in Spirit Affinity House. And maybe because of your special traits. Don't worry. Heavenly Court has been alerted by this. The 10 great ancient sects will go ahead and form a team consisting of you as the core to rescue your lover Ma Hong Yun in Northern Plains. What? Zhao Lianyun stared with wide-opened eyes. Hearing this, she was extremely joyful and surprised.